Alright, so this is my M2 assignment. The first survivor in my group is Rebecca, and she is very similar to Ben in Night of the Living Dead. Rebecca wants to take on full charge and swears she knows best, which works out for me as a survivor because I am personally very indecisive, so having Rebecca take control kind of relieves some stress from me. Although Rebecca sounds great, she does add some negative factors like Ben did in Night of the Living Dead. In the movie, Ben swears that not staying in the downstairs cellar is the best idea, and that ends up not being true also. He ends up accidentally killing someone in his group, which really sucks because how are you not supposed to trust someone like that? With that being said, I admire and I am glad I have Rebecca in my group because she takes charge, but I sometimes question her sense of direction because it doesn't seem like the absolute best idea, and she is also questionable because she doesn't allow anyone else to take the lead or suggest ideas. The second survivor in my group is Thomas, and he is very similar to Barbara in Night of the Living Dead. Thomas seems to want to help and suggest a few ideas, but he is mentally not with us anymore. He is very traumatized from watching the zombies eat all of his friends and family, so he isn't much help to the group. He easily zones out and gets distracted because of how traumatized he is, and is still in denial that his close ones are no longer with him. In Night of the Living Dead, Barbara sees her brother get attacked by a zombie, which really affects her through the whole film, which does make her very useless when it comes to surviving. So, you're probably wondering, why would I even choose someone like Thomas to be in my surviving group? But I chose Thomas because I feel like he's the most relatable. So, like Barbara's character in Night of the Living Dead. I feel like all these movies, or a lot of movies, or just anyone in general, would want somebody like a badass in their group. But I felt like it was relatable to pick somebody that would actually have like trauma. So I feel like if I were to watch zombies or that go down, I would be absolutely traumatized. So I just felt like having Thomas in my group is something more realistic. And in Night of the Living Dead, Barbara actually ends up, I think, getting like killed by her brother that turned into a zombie, because could you imagine, so that's why I chose Thomas. And then Rebecca, like I said before, I am very indecisive, so I just feel like I would not be the one to take control or leadership in my group. I would need somebody else to do that. I would still be willing to give opinions and, give my ideas, which would help in that situation, because Rebecca's ideas aren't the best, but she kind of is headed in the right direction. So that's how that would work. For the second part of this blog entry, I decided to compare and contrast Harry from Night of the Living Dead and Francine from Dawn of the Dead. I chose these two characters because I felt like they would clash the most in our polar opposites. Harry loves to be right and enjoys to prove people wrong, tries to be cautious, but is constantly just selfish. With that being said, Francine is more reasonable and trying to adapt to her surroundings. She would totally be against the idea to hide in the cellar, since in Dawn of the Dead, she felt like being in the mall was a prison, not a sanctuary. Being in a group with those two would be a little difficult because Harry wanting to be always right would really make surviving as a team difficult. And then having Francine trying to make us leave our hiding spot would probably make Harry and I freak out. But Francine does seem more reasonable and less selfish, so I'd rather her take the lead in my group. In the world we are in today, it would be super normal to let Francine take the lead in our group. But if this was in Harry's time when Night of the Living Dead was filmed, he would probably be trying to belittle Francine and not giving her any say in what to do, or not really trust her authority. So in Dead Man Still Walking, Explaining the Zombie Renaissance, Kyle Bishop states that Romero's movies, like all great fantasy texts, have always offered critical metaphors. And that is something I have to agree on, because these characters always symbolize much greater than what you think they would in a zombie movie, which is the really cool part. Although these movies are about zombies, it is true how it is focused on the characteristics and personality of the survivors and how they contribute to their group and societal issues. So for example, Night of the Living Dead, it was a really big deal that the main character was African American. And then in Dawn of the Dead, Francine, like I talked about, she was kind of like, they were getting comfortable with the idea of like, let's just stay here, but then she kind of like got everyone to like, come on, like snap out of it kind of thing. But I think it's very fascinating that you would think that it's just going to be like these zombies and like blood, gory, and, you know, but it's actually so much about, like, society, like, you know, just everything, like race, gender, you know, the, like, a hierarchy, like who's on top, like who runs things, like, so yeah, thank you.